Have you ever wondered about the true purpose and actual age of the Giza plateau? The effort to acknowledge these mysteries is gathering momentum, as more and more evidence comes to light. Not only is the true age of the plateau being revealed, but there are also calls to excavate the second Sphinx. Wait till you hear this. Two historians, Gary Cannon and Malcolm Hutton, have written a book that challenges everything we know about the Great Sphinx and the pyramids at Giza. According to these two experts, the Great Sphinx must have been carved from natural rock in the region long before any sand was even present. This means that the entire area would have been fertile and would have existed more than 12,000 years ago, well beyond the timeline of the ancient Egyptians. The last cataclysmic event happened around 12,000 years ago, which neatly aligns with the astronomical clock related to the constellation of the zodiac. The pyramids at Giza were present during the last ice age and were built to last as a message from a completely lost civilization that spanned the globe. But who were these lost civilizations, and where did they go? According to the researchers, the center of this lost civilization may have been the legendary city of Atlantis, which was completely consumed by the Great Flood. Could it be that Egypt was part of the Atlantis Empire? Gary Cannon is quoted as saying, "I have done some research, and there is a direct line from the pyramids to a submerged continent with a mountain in the sea. And on the mountain of the sea, there are two pinnacles that resemble the pyramid. It may be Atlantis. When Atlantis sank, they went to another place, probably Egypt, and they had the technology to build those pyramids. There is no one else who could have done it. They did not have the technology. We really don't know who this lost civilization was, but the idea that they left the planet to avoid perishing in the cataclysm would make more sense than them simply accepting their fate. They had the tools and the technology to build structures that cannot be replicated today. So, we suggest that they still exist somewhere in the universe. Isn't it comforting to believe that we are the descendants of a race of beings that were more advanced than we are today over 12,000 years ago? What would they think of us on the earth today? You have to wonder. But why do Egyptologists refuse to believe this evidence? The evidence is staring right at them in the face, yet they still spout their lies as the truth that they have been falsely educated to believe. Some of them must be aware of this massive falsity that leads us to think that this is a conspiracy on an unbelievable scale. Perhaps there is more at stake than telling human beings today that our history is far older and more magnificent than they could ever have thought possible. Whoever built the pyramids, whatever the truth may be, the dynastic Egyptians are not responsible for the massive elaborate constructions we see at Giza today. However, there is more to the story. The researchers claim that the center of the lost civilization may have been the city of Atlantis, which was completely consumed by the Great Flood. This aligns with ancient accounts of Atlantis being a technologically advanced and prosperous civilization that ultimately met its downfall due to a catastrophic event. Could it be possible that the lost civilization responsible for the pyramids at Giza was actually Atlantis? This theory would suggest that the civilization didn't simply perish in the cataclysmic event, but instead left Earth and moved to another location, possibly Egypt, where they had the technology to build the pyramids. Gary Cannon has suggested that there is a direct line from the pyramids to a submerged continent with a mountain in the sea. This supports the idea that Atlantis was responsible for the construction of the pyramids and had the technology to build such magnificent structures. If this is true, it would mean that we are the descendants of a race of beings that were more advanced than we are today over 12,000 years ago. It's impossible to say what they would think of us on Earth today, but it's a fascinating thought to consider. The evidence is stacking up, and the more people who are presented with this evidence, the more belief gathers momentum over the misdirection we have been on for millennia. It's as if the pyramids were found 5,000 years ago, a dynasty was started that lasted a few thousand years, forgotten about, and then rediscovered in modern times. We simply made up stories about the dynastic people of Egypt without any evidence that they had anything to do with the Great Pyramids. Egyptologists have never once replicated any ancient structure on this scale, anywhere in the world. This begs the question, what are they hiding? What is really at stake? Surely the truth is more interesting than the great lie. Perhaps one day we will uncover the truth about the pyramids at Giza and the lost civilization responsible for their construction. Until then, we can only speculate and wonder about the possibilities. As we continue to uncover more evidence, it becomes clear that the story of the pyramids and the Sphinx is not as simple as we once thought. There are still many questions that need to be answered, but it is exciting to think about what we may discover in the future. Perhaps we will one day uncover evidence that definitively proves the existence of Atlantis and its connection to the Giza plateau. Maybe we will find ancient texts that tell the story of the lost civilization that built the pyramids and the Sphinx. Whatever the future holds, it is clear that the effort to acknowledge the true purpose and actual age of the Giza plateau is gathering momentum. The evidence is stacking up not only for the true age to be revealed but also for the second Sphinx at the plateau to be excavated. As we continue to explore and uncover the mysteries of the ancient world, it is important to keep an open mind and consider all possibilities. The story of the pyramids and the Sphinx is just one small piece of a much larger puzzle, and it is up to us to piece together the clues and unravel the secrets of our past. We always have more stories to tell, so make sure you are subscribed and have pressed the bell button.